Hello. Today I'm going over chemical energy and ATP lecture. So this is about chemical energy in our bodies and the molecules that are responsible for transferring that energy so that our bodies can be active and move and do all the things that they need to do. So let's start off with that molecule in question. ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, is the primary energy carrier in living cells. So we know that we get energy from our food, but that food, the energy that's trapped in that food, has to be sent over to these ATP molecules, okay? It stores energy in the bonds between its three phosphate groups, especially the bond to the last phosphate. So here's the three, 1, 2, 3. And between each of these are some high energy bonds, but especially this one right here. That's the most important. That has the largest amount of energy associated with it, that bond. When this bond is broken through hydrolysis, energy is released for cellular processes. Cells use ATP to power activities like muscle contractions, active transport, and the synthesis of molecules. These are just a few things. Everything that's moving in your body, even down to the cellular, even down to the chemical level, is moving because of ATP. ADP, or adenosine diphosphate, is formed when ATP loses one phosphate group. So we have ATP here, and it has the three phosphates. But when it loses that phosphate to release some energy, then it's down to ADP. It only has the two phosphates here. So adenosine diphosphate. It needs to pick up a third to go back to being ATP. Let's see. This conversion releases energy that the cell can use immediately. So when it releases that last phosphate, ADP can be recycled back into ATP by adding a phosphate group through processes like cellular respiration, which is there, right? Adding that third phosphate back. This cycle between ATP and ADP allows cells to continuously manage and reuse energy efficiently. Okay, so let's keep it going, discussing ATP and ADP. The ATP-ADP cycle is essential for maintaining life because it provides a constant supply of usable energy. Think about it. Even if you're sitting still, your body is still in motion. Your heart is beating. You're breathing. Your brain is active. All these things require energy. So we need that constant usable energy. Energy from food or sunlight is used to convert ADP back to ATP in a process called phosphorylation. So that's the key here. Here is energy from food. So the energy from our food is what goes in to adding that third phosphate back. That's how food, because we always say like food gives us our energy, right? But that energy has to be put into the ATP molecule. Okay. This means that ATP is not stored in large amounts, but is constantly being made and used. So as soon as this ATP is made, it's used again. And then it goes back to being recycled and then used again and again and again. The rapid turnover of ATP ensures that cells can respond quickly to energy demands. All right. And then the final one here is a different process. This is one that most of the things that we think of living organisms aren't going through this last process. These are things like microorganisms usually. Okay, Chemosynthesis. Chemosynthesis is a process by which certain organisms produce energy without sunlight. So now we're thinking, okay, most of the things that we think of as alive, be they plants or bugs or animals, get their energy from the sun, ultimately, and the foods that they eat. But in chemosynthesis, there is no sunlight. Instead of using light like in photosynthesis, these organisms use chemical energy from inorganic substances such as hydrogen sulfide or methane. Chemosynthesis organisms are often found in extreme environments like deep sea hydrothermal vents. They form the base of unique ecosystems by producing organic molecules that other organisms rely on for food. So rather than plants being the basis of the food chain because of sun's energy coming in, these are organisms that make energy from chemical means. Basically, from these hydrothermal vents, you get hydrogen sulfide and methane. And there's these little microorganisms that can convert those using different chemistry than plants use for photosynthesis. Okay, I hope this helps and gets us started. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.